Yes, yes. Herman Scuttle here, and it's good to be here. I have a lot to say, and I'm saying it. And before I get into the real meat of the matter, let me give you some news. I've got some news here. Just breaking news just came over the wire. You ready? Okay. First, a woman in the Henan province of China has created an unusual business. 27-year-old Li Fang draws messages in the sand on beaches. And she gets paid for it. But if she's in a lousy mood, Ms. Fang lays on the beach and kicks sand in her face. Also in the news, a California woman named Connie Matthews has received over 100 space heaters in the mail. Ms. Matthews claims she didn't order any of these space heaters, and she's never needed one. She says, "Whenever I get cold, I sit in a corner where it's always 90 degrees. And finally in the news, firefighters in Ocala, Florida, responded to a fire in a truck, and the truck was carrying 6,000 pounds of onions. The driver was not injured, but a few of the surviving onions formed a hip-hop group, and they're calling themselves the Rapscallions. That's right. That's what's in the news. Maybe something else will cross the wire a little later. We'll find out. But there's so much more I have for you today. And how are you feeling? Okay? Yeah, you're recovering from the holidays and all that stuff? Good. Well, I'll tell you this. You may not believe me, but I got an itch on my shoulder blade. No, thank you. Stop. I, believe it or not, I am a certified pickpocket. But I know that ethics is important, so I never rip off kids or the destitute. My exclusive targets are smug, narcissistic wankers who appear in public obliviously with their ornamental heads pinned to a phone. Yes, I rob witless, wireless humanoids who keep their phones pasted to their heads, holding passionate communiques that to them nothing else matters. Of course, in another time and in another place, these same people would be dragging on Marlboros or sucking their thumbs. Well, I pick their pockets. It's easy money. Wallets and purses never go out of style. And swag comes to me with no sweat. Cash, plastic, driver's license, Medicare cards, pictures of ugly babies. Hey, did I mention that I went to pickpocket school? Yeah, I graduated in the top of my class, magna cum outlaw. And how about this? Once, when I snatched a smartphone out of somebody's back pocket, right away it made the world a better place. One less smartass in town. What else? Do you want to know what else? Okay. Among my various old man cardio walk routes, I go down to Silver Lake once or twice a week. It's a 15-minute walk from my place in downtown Pittsfield. And for the past few months, I have seen Really, I have seen a lone Canada goose hanging around all by itself in the same corner of the lake. Now, the goose seems healthy enough, but it's conspicuously uncommon. No other big birds around. The flocks of geese that stay in the Berkshires all winter, well, they usually congregate near a bigger lake or a reservoir with adequate open water despite predominant ice cover. Silver Lake in Pittsfield is actually just a small pond. Well, the other day I squatted there down by the shoreline, wondering if this goose might still be around. Then out of the reeds it came. It came out of the reeds in a slow motion waddle right up to me. And I asked the goose, I said, why are you here all by yourself? The little lake was frozen except for a small patch of open water where creek water was flowing in. Well, the goose studied my face, floated in a circle, and then flaunted its wingspan. Bashful, but happy to see me. Now, I am told that a Canada goose like this is in a state of mourning. Really, you could look it up. Maybe the goose is pining for a companion missing in action. And I am told that they, Canadian gooses, yeah, they like to eat corn. So next time I'm walking down that way, I'll try to remember to bring a can of green giant kernels. And if you like to feed wild Canada gooses, don't feed them bread. That's not good for them. This is not a joke. Don't feed bread to these wild birds. It's bad for them. Get a can of corn. I'm serious. Now, I know about you. I know about you. I know what you're up to. And I found out that once again, you are stuck in the middle of a revolting development. And as usual, you lack the intestinal fortitude to support one side over the other. I mean that your mother is visiting, and both she and your spouse want to cook dinner. But deciding who prepares the evening meal, they ask you which dinner entree you would prefer. Your mother wants to cook a tuna green bean casserole. Your significant other wants to make a nice meatloaf. The rule in your house is that only one cook is allowed in the kitchen. I know. So your preference will dictate who handles the supper duties. But whichever candidate is chosen, your mother or your spouse, the other one, the one who's not chosen, will be simmering in bitterness. You know. And since there will only be the three of you at the dining room table, there will be enough hostility emanating from that rejected person so that you'll be able to cut it hovering in the air with a butter knife. And what does this have to do with things that are astrological? Oh, I'm glad you asked. A quick glance upward at the night sky ought to spell it out for you plain as day. Your Neptune and your Mercury are virtually locking horns. And as far as galactic punch is concerned, well, my betting advice to you is to put your money on Neptune. It's 10 times bigger than Mercury. No contest. Size is everything. Well, now back to the dinner. Which one sounds more appetizing to you? Your mom's tuna green bean casserole or your Honey Bunny's special meatloaf? Actually, it's a no-brainer. Go with the green bean casserole. Tuna green bean casserole. Yum. See, because it's got a connection with the sea, like Neptune, and Neptune is the odds-on favorite in the current struggle with Mercury. You see? Call me crazy. Letting your mother cook the dinner instead of your sweetheart is the better bet this time around. Oh, sure, you'll have to sleep alone tonight, but you won't go to bed hungry. You see, here's a guy that you don't know about, and because you don't know about this guy and a lot of other stuff that I know about, I have to tell you right now. Right now I'm going to tell you about Deacon Jim Miller. Okay. Deacon Jim Miller, hungry and broke, sat on the stool next to me. Stool? Next to me where? Well, we were at lunch, the lunch counter at the Soda Chef Diner downtown Pittsfield. And he pointed to my grilled cheese and told the waitress, "I'll have what he's having." Deacon Jim knows that I'll be paying his tab. It's not an issue. He's the best poet in town, and somebody has to make sure he's fed. Deacon Jones is somebody else. Where am I? What am I saying? I'm saying that Deacon Jim knows that I know it, and we still have unwritten rules in the local arts community. So today, by silent affirmation, Deacon Jim eats for free. And Deacon Jim says, look, Herman, don't worry about it. My checking account gets a boost tomorrow. Tomorrow being the third Wednesday of the month, when Social Security pushes one of their buttons and cash is ready in the ATM again, says Deacon Jim. Well, no reimbursement is expected for my generosity, but Deacon Jim understands that after he eats for free, he must stand up and give the diner crowd a good poem or two. It's an unwritten rule. Well, he rises and delivers. He says, "I walk on a wire, the poverty line, best place to be for daredevils in the arts. Poverty coupled with neurosis, coupled with the hot breath of a spinster Godzilla on my neck, coupled with good nagging ennui." Good nagging ennui. All of it keeping with my she. And by the way, she spelled Q-I. You know what that means. Come on. All of it keeping with my she way above my pay grade. So that's the poem that Deacon Jim delivered after he ate his free lunch. That's it. And if you were there at the Soda Chef Diner, you would know that today's special was a nutritious special, courtesy of Deacon Jim. What you're probably saying, Herman Scuttle, how about a song? Is that what you're saying? That's good, because I have one. I have a song for you, just for you, and I wrote it for you last night. Here we go. I woke up this morning confused, more confused than I've ever been. I said I woke up this morning more confused than I've ever been. I looked like Mahatma Gandhi, but I felt just like Ho Chi Minh. Woke up this morning, a man put a gun to my head. I woke up this morning, a man put a gun to my head. But he couldn't shoot me. He said I smelled like I was already dead. Yes, I smelled so bad I was making the whole town sour. So I took off my clothes and took a good, hot shower. Then I needed coffee, but no coffee in the coffee can. Well, I needed some coffee, no coffee in the coffee can. So I used yesterday's grounds from the trash. I'm a recycling man. Yes, yes, yes. And you know, I get correspondence, and I must mention, seriously, in all seriousness, I don't want any correspondence, but people do it anyway. I get correspondence from phone messages, text messages, Facebook messages, messages in a bottle, email, snail mail, Pony Express, Morse code, hypnosis, mental telepathy, whispering campaigns, and conspiracy theories. See? I don't solicit correspondence, but it gets to me anyway. Well, here we go. All right, I'll do it anyway. Why not? So, here is a bit of correspondence from someone named Bronco Orenthal from Pittsfield. He says, I've been exploring Antarctica for a few months, but I can't seem to make any friends. Any advice? Well, don't give up. And remember, in Antarctica, it's really hard to break the ice. Here's one from someone named Quint Lockjaw from Windsor, Massachusetts. My 90-year-old mother finally got her college degree after taking some online courses. Isn't that wonderful? Well, yeah, she must be a very well-educated woman, but at her advanced age, she may be having trouble with all that she's learned. Out of Lanesboro, we have a correspondence from someone named Shiloh Catechism. Shiloh says, my boyfriend says his Lamborghini can go faster than the speed of sound. Is that possible? No. And it sounds like he's telling you a mock joke. Here's one from Andrew Dice Terracotta from Dalton. From Dalton. All right. If you see him, tell him I said hello. Andrew Dice Terracotta of Dalton says, my wife and I are planning a canoe trip on the Salmon River in Idaho. Should I sit in the front of the canoe or in the back? Well, I don't know much about canoes, but I do know that the person in the back can be very stern. And mercifully, this is the last one. It's a correspondence from someone named Reno Peppermill from Beckett. Reno says, please help me understand why my husband always forgets our wedding anniversary. Reno, listen to me, Reno, okay? Wedding anniversaries and toilets are about the same. Men usually miss them both. Well, that's correspondence. And please, if it's possible, don't send me any more correspondence. I'll tell you about reincarnation. You don't believe in reincarnation? You don't want to hear about reincarnation? Come on, I've got a lot to say, and I'm saying it. I woke up this morning and I made my bed, and I made it tight with the hospital corners, military style. Then I brewed espresso in my Bilotti pot. And then a half hour of bending and stretching, cardio locomotion, light weight lifting, sit-ups, leg lifts, push-ups, all while mumbling my secret mantra, plus musical accompaniment. Yeah, if you do that kind of stuff, you should have some musical accompaniment. I have Beethoven's Concerto No. 5, otherwise known as the Emperor, and it was played by Vladimir Ashkenazy with the London Philharmonic. Well, that's a lot to digest if you hear me telling you about it, but it's great. So that's my preference for early morning exercise, meditation, music, background music. Then, after all that, I went out and I got assassinated by a CIA lone gunman. But amazingly, reincarnation brought me right back to my persistent business of tedious mediocrity. I made the bed, a quick sip of espresso, the workout drill, Beethoven, and another round of purgatory hurly-burly. Hey, am I the only one this is happening to? Or is reincarnation making a comeback? Yes, I know you're like me and you think a lot about outer space. Well, I recently saw a picture of Voyager's golden record cover shown with its extraterrestrial instructions. You remember Voyager. Voyager was launched back in 1977, yeah. And inside the Voyager, it's still out there somewhere out in space, but it contains a golden record inside. Music contained inside is from Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, Stravinsky, Chuck Berry, Louis Armstrong, Glenn Gould, Blind Willie Johnson.
Hey, Herman, you got 5 minutes.
Okay. All of those guys are in the Voyager Golden Record. Blind Willie Johnson, Zaire Pygmy songs, Australian Aborigine songs, Navajo night chants, Solomon Island panpipes, and much more. It's all still there in the Voyager, launched in 1977, but it's still out there. But so far, there's only been one response from a distant galaxy. And the message is, "Hello, people of Earth. We've been trying to reach you about your planet's extended warranty." Yeah, I would say that's enough. What do you say? Okay. Well, I'll be back at another time. But as I said, I had a lot to say, and I said it. Yeah. So long until next time, this is Herman Scuttle.